What is up, my spiritual weirdo fam, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Tani Michelle, and basically I'm just another spiritual ass bitch here on the internet doing tarot, astrology, spiritual videos like this one. So if that's your vibe, make sure to subscribe before you leave. If not, that's cool too. So today we are basically doing a pick a card reading for your wake-up call. And there's a lot of intense energy right now going on, so I feel like we could all use a little bit of a wake-up call. I don't know about you, I know I could. So if you're new to my channel, basically I try to get as deep as I can in my readings. I don't just focus on surface level, twin flames, unicorns, love and light, and shit like that. So just a heads up, this reading may be deep. And yeah, if you already know which pile you want, you can skip to the timestamps down below. This is pile 1, this is pile 2, this is pile 3, and this is pile 4. I am not a crystal ass bitch, so don't ask me what the names of these crystals are. Sorry, because I get hate for it a lot, but I'm just saying. You guys, real quick, I forgot to mention that right now I am having a sale on all my personal readings for 14% off for possibly like another week or so. So if you would like to get a personal reading with me, just see the description below. I have my discount code and everything down there on my website where you need to book if you would like to. So make sure that you check that out, and let's get back to it. Anyways, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So this is for those of you that picked this really pretty blue teal crystal. I'm not even sure if you guys can see it because of the lighting, unfortunately. But yeah, this is for those of you that picked pile 1, obviously. I already said that. So let's get into it. Ooh, okay, so your first card you have is Eros. Very interesting. You also have the womb. Now it did kind of come out like this, kind of reversed, so that may mean something, so I'm going to keep it like that. Okay, and we also have the King of Cups reversed. Also have the Empress reversed. We have the 5 of Pentacles reversed. And we have the 8 of Cups reversed. Interesting. We also have the Sacred Fool. We also have Dream a Beautiful Dream. We also have Euphoria, Honor Yourself. We also have Epiphany, Reveal Your Gifts. We have the Seeker reversed. We also have Soul Work. We have Abundance. And we have Divine Timing. Gotta love that. Okay, wow. So this is very, very interesting. There's a lot of sexual energy in this reading. And not even just like sexual, you don't even have to think about it that way, because I know, unfortunately, we still live in a society where sexuality is extremely taboo. But what I'm seeing here is intimacy issues, okay? I'm seeing a lot of distance, a lot of intimacy issues. So this doesn't necessarily just have to be for those of you in a relationship. This could also be for those of you guys that are single. But Eros is an extremely sexual, masculine energy. And then we also have the womb here, which is also obviously related to sexuality and creation. And we also have the Empress here, which I think is interesting, reversed. Okay, so you guys have differences about you, but you view those differences as your weaknesses, if that makes sense. And you've been constantly searching for answers with the Seeker here, but it's reversed. So it's almost like you're not getting anything in return. You aren't able to create because you have like these blockages within you, I feel here. And I also get like a feeling here that some of you guys are also not only scared of failure, but scared of success in some way as well. So I think that this is kind of like a multi-layered reading where there's creation issues, and it could have nothing to do with sexuality or intimacy, although that is something that I picked up immediately. It could also just have to do with creation, like raw creation, raw divine creation. You guys have a lot of really, really unique, cool gifts about you, but you view them as weaknesses. And I haven't been able to pinpoint exactly what they are, but you know, this card, Epiphany, Reveal Your Gifts, tells me that. The Sacred Fool tells me that. And then also all of this creation energy, and then Euphoria, Honor Yourself. once again, euphoria kind of goes with that pleasure kind of energy. I think a lot of you guys may be feeling vulnerable around this time, or like no one cares, or even maybe abandonment issues. And it could definitely be something that you have suffered from since childhood, maybe even when you were a baby. Maybe you don't even remember it all the way, like maybe it's subconscious. But I don't want you guys to just take this on if this is not resonating. If this is not resonating, this is not your reading. If it's for you, it would be resonating already. So yeah, I think that you guys are kind of at like a stopping point where you keep doing the same thing over and over and you're not getting any kind of payoff for it, almost. You may be almost, for whatever reason, I'm getting like a sense of shallowness with this Empress reverse. So either you're attracting people that are very shallow, or you're very shallow in some way, because you're not taking this part of you that you think is bad, or that you think is dark, or that you think is so wrong, whatever this is that you think is so wrong about you, whether it's your sexuality, your gifts, your creative force, whatever this is, even, just intimacy in general. There's kind of like a coldness here. And I see that with the Five of Pentacles and the Eight of Cups. There's distance here. So yeah, for some of you, this could be distance created that you have in a relationship. And it's because you're afraid to be your true self. You're afraid to show who you really are underneath it all. And for some of you, this could be another person in your life that honestly, maybe you don't want to face the fact that maybe there's some incompatibility here. And if you can't figure out ways to compromise and work through it, then it may not work out. And I think that, with soul work, there's definitely, I think that with the Seeker reversed here, you're seeking in the wrong places, which is why the Eight of Cups is reversed, the Five of Pentacles is reversed. Like, the answers are within you, not externally. And I think you keep looking externally to fill this void, this emptiness inside of you. And to look for that abundance, to feel that abundance. But if you want to feel abundance, you have to create that abundance within you. You have to fix the issues that are going on within you before you can see it manifest externally. And I think that's kind of what's going on here. You're not seeing any results externally because you're not addressing what's going on internally. And I also think that, because there's a lot of stuff here about honoring yourself, and revealing your gifts and honoring your uniqueness and allowing yourself to be different, allowing yourself to be quirky. I feel like for a certain majority of you guys, this is going to be about intimacy or sexuality. Like, you guys may be some freaks, like some undercover freaks, and you are really afraid to express that because of what you've been conditioned to believe. And others of you are just very, very creative, but you've been suppressing it. Like, there's almost like a dry spell here with the womb reverse, the five, like, there's like a void, there's like a lack here is kind of what I'm picking up on, and that goes with abundance. But soul work is like, this is a soul lesson that you are here to figure out. At least that's what I'm picking up from this card. This is a soul lesson that you are here to figure out. This is something that you are here to address. This is something that you have to work on within yourself instead of externally. And with Dream a Beautiful Dream, and also divine timing, once again, it starts with, like I've been saying, it starts within. You have to go within first. You have to, because the Empress reversed, what I'm kind of picking up on in this particular reading with the Empress reversed is that you lack the love for who you really are and how abundant you really are. You don't see it. You think you're lacking and all of this stuff, but really you're just lacking in the love for who you are. The good, the bad, and the ugly, because what you may be perceiving as ugly about yourself or as bad about yourself is actually what makes you so beautiful, unique, and different than everybody else in the world. You know what I mean? And so I think that dream a beautiful dream is once again about following your creative desires and following your desires in general. Quit suppressing them. Start honoring yourself. Start looking at these expressions of who you are and these desires of who you are and these unique qualities about yourself as gifts instead of curses, you know, instead of like they're bad things, or no one's gonna love you if you reveal that about yourself, or if you do XYZ. That's not the case at all. In fact, you will feel so much more happier, abundant. You will quit feeling so empty, and you will be able to manifest like internally and externally the life that you want. But there's definitely a divine force at play here with whatever you're going through, you know, where this is a much bigger lesson for you than what you may think, or whatever the case, whatever you're struggling with here is much bigger for you. And the sooner that you accept that you're not just the average bitch, or you're not just the average soccer mom, or you're not just the average wife with kids and Betty Crocker type of bitch, the sooner that you can really start being yourself and enjoying your life and figuring out who you are. And some of you guys may be in like a relationship as well that's lacking intimacy. And I feel like some of you guys may even be in a situation where you almost feel like you're stuck or trapped because of finances, or just because of your own emotional issues that you need to work through. Now, for very few of you guys, this could also be issues conceiving as well. I mean, I have to say it since we have the Empress and the womb. That's not a coincidence. And if you are having issues conceiving, if that is you in any way, then I would say what I'm seeing here is to start honoring yourself and what you really want. So that tells me that it may not be what you really want, or at least it may not be with the person that you would really, the person that you're trying to do it with may not be the person for you to do it with deep down. So, just ask yourself, what do you really want? And does this person, if you're dealing with another person, meet the criteria of that? And I feel like with the Seeker reversed also, some of you guys may have like given up on your dreams, or given up, on your gifts, your talents, and what it is that you want to birth into the world. So that is what I'm getting for your wake-up call for pile number 1. Let me know down below if any of that resonated with you guys. I always love to hear your feedback. I really, really appreciate it. If you would like anything else from me, or to see anything else from me, or to know what's going on with me, check the description below and follow me on my social medias and all that. And we're going to move on to pile number 2. What's going on, pile number 2? This is for those of you that picked the second pile with this crystal on it. So let's go ahead and get into it. So your first 2 cards are the Sustainer and the Lover. So I think that's interesting, and it kind of sets the tone for the rest of your cards here. So what I see here, pile number 2, is that you guys are the pillar, and literally have the pillar card. You guys are like the pillar for something, whether it's your family, your job, your friends, your whatever. It's like sustainability is very important to you. Holding up the pillar is very important to you. You are like the rock. Having like a solid foundation is very important to you, because we have the 10 of Pentacles here as well. You have these goals, you have this vision, and that is what you want, if that makes sense. But also, we have the Lover here. And so I almost feel like there's a couple situations going on here. I think that you guys, with the Sun reversed and the 6 of Cups reversed, you're almost not happy doing this in some way, especially with the Fool here. I think you're scared to like take that risk, and I think it's interesting that we have the Fool right before the Ten of Pentacles, but he's facing the opposite direction. It's almost like you're not finding passion in what you once wanted, if that makes sense. With the Lover here, it could be a relationship or love, family related, but it could also be you're not honoring what you truly love. You're not honoring what you want, your own passions, your own happiness, your own creativity, because we have what you want wants you, and then we also have Orenda, honor your mystical creative force. And so I think somewhere along the lines, either you've lost passion for this, or it's turned into something that you don't necessarily want anymore. Now, something else interesting here is I think a lot of you guys, it may not be that you've lost passion for this or that you don't want this anymore. It could be something from your past that is almost coming back around, or that you're scared is going to come back around. You're almost like projecting your past into the future, like, oh my God, is this going to repeat? Because we also have make peace with your past. And then we also have the Six of Cups here, which can be very nostalgic, memory type of energy. So I think that's interesting too. And then we also have the card, the perfection of your life. So I think some of you guys with this sustainer pillar energy could be very much perfectionist, and we even have the outlaw reversed. So I think you guys are like expecting that to meet your goals or to fit in this life that you have, or this life that you're trying to go for, to continue being this pillar, that you have to be perfect, because maybe somewhere in your past something happened. You went outside of the lines of the norm, and so you're scared that that's going to work against you, or you're scared that you're going to foolishly go back and make that decision again. So there's definitely something here with the past and the future that you're trying to figure out. And we also have unlimited possibilities and teaching here, which I think is interesting, because the past gives us this experience. You know, it molds us into our outlook on life and who we are, and it also gives us possibilities, these unlimited possibilities for growth and to understand things in a new way, at a new level. But what we can do with the past is use that experience to help others, which I think teaching, which I think is what this card teaching is kind of talking about, where that card kind of plays in. So I think you're kind of like at this phase where you don't feel good enough, or you feel like you might as well say screw it and just keep, and just go back to how you were before, or you're scared that you're going to do that, that you're going to jump off that ledge and basically risk everything that you've gained. And so there's kind of I kind of see these two cards as like dual forces within you right now, like almost like the angel and the devil on your shoulders, like, and I kind of feel like if something is coming back up from your past, it's for you to address it. But it's also okay, like you can be the sustainer, you can be the pillar without being perfect. You don't have to be perfect, and I think that's the main message here. You don't have to be perfect. It's time to face your past. It's time to face your old self and integrate that old self within you and let that self heal, instead of, fearing it so much or trying to keep it separate from you, because that old self is possibly also your creative self, which could be dulling your current passions or motivations. Maybe you've not been feeling as passionate lately, or you've not been feeling as energized or vital or motivated lately. Now, we can't ignore the obvious kind of similarity of the Sun and the Six of Cups with this children energy here, and then also even in the Ten of Cups. So For some of you, this could be something from childhood. This could be some inner child work that needs done, forgiving the inner child and realizing, and also the Fool, which brings this kind of innocence here as well. And for others of you, this could literally have to do with children. Maybe you carried guilt as a parent with children, or maybe, it's very weird because the last pile kind of had like a nod towards children and mothering and parenting as well. But there's definitely a theme with children or the inner child or creativity here in some way, shape, or form. So that could also be playing a factor into whatever it is that you're dealing with here right now. You're trying to sustain something, but also there's this other force of like the lover of wanting to explore, wanting to find new possibilities, not wanting to be trapped in. And I think you can have both. I really do. I think that you can combine the two. I don't know if you've thought about this yet, but I think you can take the two and combine them instead of trying to keep them separate. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be this, perfect person doing, whatever it is that you think perfect people do, because all it is a thought anyway. All it is an idea in your head. So just be who you are, right? Make peace with your past. Honor your mystical creative force. Understand that just because things happen to us or because we take certain actions, we are so much more than that. So also keep that in mind as well. But really integrating and facing, your past or whatever this is, as a part of you. And understanding that you're allowed to be playful, you're allowed to be innocent, you're allowed to take risks, you're allowed to mess up sometimes, you're allowed to act immature sometimes, you're allowed to do all of that and still sustain your dreams and go after your dreams, because we do have the card What You Want Wants You. So I think this is really figuring out what it is that you do want and, making peace with your past and really honoring that childlike creative force within you, if that makes sense. And some of you guys may need to explore the past to figure out what it is that you do want, because for some of you that, are kind of feeling like you don't want this certain thing that you thought you wanted really bad anymore, maybe it's time to go back and re-explore your past to figure out what it is that you do want. I think a lot of you guys may be scared to make a commitment as well. This could definitely have something to do with making like a really big commitment. And because of your past experiences, maybe you're scared to make the same mistake again, if that makes sense. And just to remember, it's not the future that we're necessarily scared of. It's repeating the same past cycles, if that makes sense. It's not doing what we did in the past. It's not because we're scared of feeling how we felt in the past because of how the situation made us feel. That's really what it comes down to. It's never that we're necessarily scared of a situation. We're scared of how that situation is going to cause us to feel. Because as humans, we're so conditioned to be scared of feelings like the plague. Like we literally fear our feelings like the plague. And so anything that may make us feel horrific, we immediately reject or try to escape or, try to avoid in any way that we can. So that is what I'm getting for you guys, pile number 2. Let me know down below if that ended up resonating with you guys. And we're going to move on to pile number 3. What's up, pile number 3, and welcome to your reading. So this is for those of you that chose this purple crystal in the 3rd pile. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is very interesting. So we have the Mystic and the Creator. We also have Follow Your Own Rhythm and Come to Life. So right away, all of this flows together. You guys are probably people that are very much sensitive to energy is what I want to say here. Also very artistic, very, 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 very creative, very, very talented. You guys have a keen eye for color, for detail, but you don't believe in yourself, I feel here. And I feel like these talents, these beautiful talents and gifts and abilities that you have been suppressed by either a situation in your life or a person in your life, because we have the Five of Swords and the King of Pentacles reversed. So it almost feels like for some of you, maybe you feel like your success was taken from someone else, or you feel like something was unfair, or there was some kind of unfair, possibly even betrayal or something. Like you feel like you're in a rigged system in some way, or in a rigged game, and so it's not even worth going after your dreams, or you just can't. You're almost complacent, or you've almost lost motivation or passion, either because of money, like I said, a person, or just a certain situation. Something has you really, really down. It could even just be the state of the world or the issues of the world. You feel like people are just assholes, basically, and you almost feel like you have no chance. If this is a person in your life, they could really be messing with your mind, or they could really be downplaying your abilities, or even like just mentally abusing you in some way. Or like I said, it could just be your view or outlook on the world. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person for all of you. But what I think is interesting here is there is a solution to every problem. And so, that tells me that as much as you think, just like this Four of Cups card, as much as he thinks that these 3 cups are it, and that's the end of his road, and he's just so focused on those 3 cups that he doesn't even see another option. And this is the perfect card to represent how, when we're caught up in fear, our immediate reaction is to conserve and is to focus on the lack and what we don't have there. And because of that, it's like our mind, and this is like scientifically proven in a way, our mind almost goes into survival mode. And so we only focus on the necessities, which at the time, it may seem like we are completely optionless, or like we have no other options, we have no other resources, we have no other answers, but really, it's our mind. We're like literally under a delusion that we can't even see that there are other options, and that, the universe is trying to help you, even if it doesn't feel like that. What's also very interesting about your pile is we have the card of self-love. And with follow your own rhythm and come to light, I feel like whatever you're going through right now it was almost meant to break your spirit in a way, in order to get you to wake the fuck up and come to life and realize your own beauty, and realize that, and realize your self-love, and realize, your own abilities and your own beauty. Because we also have solitude, alone but not lonely. Some of you guys may be staying in certain situations, or complacent in certain situations, or even feeling like, you're not going to go anywhere with this Ten of Cups reversed, but that's not necessarily true. Like I said, your brain right now is not thinking straight if you're in fear, and if this is resonating with you. And also, I think this card is interesting, solitude, alone but not lonely. Just because we're alone doesn't necessarily mean we're lonely, and just because we're lonely doesn't necessarily mean that we are alone. When we feel lonely, really, it's because we don't feel understood. And I think you guys are definitely people that struggle with feeling understood, or even being understood in some way, because you're so unique, because you guys are so empathic and so sensitive to energy and so creative, and so you guys are very like free spirits. But this, whatever this is that you're going through, whatever this wake-up call is that you're going through or about to go through, is meant to show you your worth. It is meant to and sometimes we have to see our worth by seeing what we are not worth, if that makes sense. So certain people or situations come into our lives to teach us that, yes, there is a struggle and there are certain times in life that are struggles, but that's where we grow the most. That's where we learn about ourselves the most. That is where we completely understand our worth the most. Don't get stuck in that illusion. I think your wake-up call here is that you can manifest exactly what it is you want, but it has to come from a place of self-love, and that self-love is being taught through you by whatever situation this is. You also have the card of creativity here, which definitely kind of goes with that creator and all this artistic energy that you have in your reading. So the struggle, I think, is going to invoke your creativity that much more. And as you see in this card, this big cup is overflowing into these small cups. So like a lot of people say, you can't fill from an empty cup. And that's where you are right now, I think. And so this situation is provoking you to start filling up your own cup, basically. And through that, you are going to learn how to listen to yourself and stop listening to other people and what they're telling you to do or what they expect you to do or how they expect you to live. Because I feel like you think that there's these restrictions on you, but I think it's more in your mind and in your emotions than it is physically, if that makes sense. Because I think that you feel restricted in some way, because I just keep looking at these ropes on her feet in that picture. And you are so much more powerful than these restrictions that you think are tying you down and that you think are holding you back. And if for some of you, if this is a relationship, I'm just going to be real with you, like this is not the relationship for you at all. Yes, this relationship is serving a certain purpose. Like I said, if it is a relationship, it's serving a certain purpose to show you what your dream is and what your dream isn't. But through knowing what your dream isn't, you'll have a clear idea of what you can accomplish and what your dream is. So in the end, it's serving that purpose anyway. And I think that you're going to get through it just fine. But you may have to accept some things, accept where you're at currently, before you can start changing where you're at currently and putting in that work to manifest something new. But yeah, that is what I'm getting for you guys. I think that you're learning how to be okay with who you are deeply, on a very deep level internally. So let me know down below if that resonated with you guys, and we are going to move on to pile number 4. What's going on, pile number 4, and welcome to your reading. This is for those of you that picked the fourth pile and this crystal. Wow, so this reading is very, very interesting. This is like insane. There's a lot of different themes here. So we start off with the self, the cave, and the shadow. And what was interesting about your guys' pile is a lot of extra cards kind of came out with your pile. So what this tells me right off the bat with the shadow reversed is that there is something that you guys need to face within yourself. There's definitely some shadow aspects going on here in your shadow self that you need to face. It's an aspect of yourself that you do not want to face. And it also tells me this here in the Hanged Man reverse. There's something that you are not giving up on, that you do not want to surrender to, even though it's literally costing you in either money, time, energy, whatever. For some of you, you could feel stuck in a financial situation or a commitment, a contract, an agreement with justice here. You could feel like your hands are tied in a situation, literally, because you're scared of what other people will think, or you're scared of what you're going to lose if you come out, as either yourself, or if you face whatever this is. There's definitely something here that you need to face, because we also have liberation, free yourself. We have translucence, love the darkness. We have Maximus, how can you feed others when your own table is empty? So I feel like you're like possibly, your hands are tied because you're trying to please everybody else in some way, But your truth with justice here is something opposite of what you're doing or what you're kind of giving into, if that makes sense. And it's really interesting. With the Hierophant reversed, this is something unconventional, untraditional. Your truth, I guess, possibly goes against the moral code. You're not trying to, you don't want to necessarily fit in, but you also I don't think you realize that your own power lies in your shadow. Your own power lies in facing yourself. That is where your own power lies. We also have the Sovereign reversed. You know, this reading is definitely very much about power. We also have the Death card in this Oracle deck. So this definitely tells me that there's something here that you need to face. There's something here you need to face in order for you to end something. This could also be that you are like sacrificing your own self or your own values, your own morals for the sake of keeping the peace in a situation, even though it goes against your morals and values. But your power is in staying true to yourself. It is in facing the darkness. It is in liberation, liberating yourself from this. We also have the card Ascension. So I think once you're able to do this, once you're able to face whatever this is that you're resisting, once you're able to face the truth, you will be freed with the Hierophant reversed here from whatever this is that you're dealing with, pile number 4. We also have Beyond the Mind, the Heart Beats. So, you know, trusting in your feelings more, trusting in your gut feelings and your emotions more, instead of constantly, you know, going with your mind or your fears or whatever the case may be. We also have Softly, Softly, the Tender Touch, and this is definitely very much so about feminine energy. And in fact, there's kind of a little bit of that because we also have How Can You Feed Others When Your Own Table is Empty? And, you know, this card about emotion in general. So I think that you kind of need to go into this with, like, I think you kind of need to go into the cave, right? I think the cave is really where you face your shadow, where you face your darkness, because the reason that you're in this situation is some kind of shadow aspect of yourself, where, you know, when we please other people, it's actually still selfish because we're doing it because we don't want to screw up the balance. We don't want to cause confrontation. We don't want to, it's easier than being truthful, basically. So basically it's lying, and it's not giving other people the chance to have the whole truth and have the whole information, including how you feel. So it's almost taking from them as well. So it's very important, pile number 4, that you're sticking to your truth, because your truth is also better for everybody else as well, even if it doesn't seem like that is at first, or even if other people end up not liking you for it, because you don't have anything to give here. We have the Ace of Pentacles reversed, and then we have the Three of Cups reversed. You know, so these people aren't even really, if there are people involved, they're not even really like here for the long haul. So, I mean, yeah, but this could be some kind of group or organization or company that you're associated with. It could be a job, could be a contract or some kind of commitment, but something is keeping you stuck, and instead of doing something about it, you're kind of not moving, and you're too up in your mind instead of paying attention to how you feel. And I think this card is also saying it's not like you have to go and swinging or arguing or, you know, being aggressive, right? Like, you can be more soft, and you can also be more soft with yourself. But there's something here that needs to be faced and surrendered. We also have the card Play. And so I think, you know, this really kind of pulls into you may have it in your mind that you have to be a certain way or that you have to be serious about XYZ. And so I think this is like, you just need to like face your truth and liberate yourself and get this shit off your shoulders, because it's really holding you back from being able to, you know, have your own time, to have your own pleasurable time, to be who you are, to own your power. Like, your power with the sovereign here is in the darkness. And the sovereign reverse also tells me that you don't like going by the rules, and you don't like, you know, having all these restrictions on you in some way. So it's time to face your darkness. It's time to love your own darkness and face your own truth, because that's going to liberate you. So that is what I'm getting for you guys, pile number 4. Let me know down below if that ended up resonating with you guys. I'd love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. You can check out my description below for more pick a card readings. My pick a card playlist is down there, and everything else you need to know about me is down there. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.